Okay, so when it comes to adding and subtraction on number lines, what you really need to understand is what's happening on this number line. And usually you're going to be given a word problem, and then you're going to have to match the number line that matches a word problem, or you're going to have to tell what's happening like we do here. So this says, mathematically describe what is happening on the number line below. Then write your thinking as an equation. So we're going to look at the number line first, and then we're going to write an equation to show what it's showing. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through this one, and then we will do one together. So first of all, in a number line, I always want you to notice where it starts. So here I notice it starts at 0, and then where it ends. It ends at a 40, right? We notice that. I also notice that there's two lines. This line right here is pointing to the right. Do you see that? How do I know it's pointing to the right? Because it has an arrow. And then there's another line above it, but this one's pointing to the left. So the direction that it's pointing tells a lot. So because in math, if you're moving to the right in a number line and your numbers are getting bigger, right? You're adding some, right? So this represents addition. Meanwhile, if you're going backwards, right, you're going back on the number line, that means it shows subtraction. So this would be the first step. First, you always start. Where does it start? So I noticed that this first line goes all the way to 30, right? So we started at 0, then we went to 30, okay? Then the one above it shows it goes from 30 and it goes back to where? Now it's at 10. Okay, so mathematically, what just happened? Well, first, it jumped up 30. That means we started with 30, right? So we were at 0, and then we added 30. Now we're going to go back. So now we're back, but we didn't go back 10. Sometimes we get confused. We did not go back 10, because if we went back 10, we would be, what's 30 minus 10? We would be here at 20. That's not where we are. So really, we went back some. We don't know how much, right? Minus a number. We'll put a box. And now we are at 10. Does that make sense? So how do we figure out what goes in this box? Well, you can think 30 minus a number, it equals 10, or you can count back. And if you notice, it's going in intervals of 5. So if I were you, I could count back 5, 10, 15, 20. So that means that we went back 20, and now we are at 10. Does that make sense? Right? Another way we could have solved this is try to figure out the difference here. And we really could have used this one and this number to figure out. 30 minus 10 is 20, and that's the mystery part here. But again, your number line will tell the story, so you can really just use your story. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So we're going to try one now together. Okay, so now we're going to look at this one. This one's different. Again, we're describing mathematically what is happening on this number line below. Then we're going to write our thinking as an equation. So use my steps that I just gave you. First, look at where does it start? It starts at 0. Our number line ends at 40. I also forgot to say, always notice the interval. So it's going by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And in between it, these represent our units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But putting the intervals here by 5, that makes it easier to count. You don't have to count every single one. So I'm going to pause the video, and I want you to notice what's happening with the arrows and what direction are they moving and where do they end. And I'm going to ask you to share with me, what do you think it's showing? So if you notice, they're both going to the right, and it's ending at a bigger number. That means it's showing one operation. So raise your hand if you can tell me what equation this number line represents. Okay, if you're at home watching this and you said 20, or if you're in class, plus, right? How did I get 20? Because if you notice, the first arrow goes to 20. And then I did plus because it's continuing to go forward, right? So plus a number, I don't know that number yet, equals 35. That's where it ends. But I can go and use the number line to help me. So we jumped 5, 10, 15. So if you said 20 plus 15 equals 35, you are 100% correct. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so now we're going to practice in our math notebooks, in our math textbooks. So keep tuning in or look on the PowerPoint slide where it will tell you what page to look at and what problems to do for practice so we can keep practicing this.